What's up everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on Lexalexus. Today we're going to do the championship review after a crazy weekend of championship football. Some crazy scorelines, some red cards, some teams shifting up and down the table. We're going to discuss all of the changes that have taken place within this weekend. We've also got 12 midweek games that I'll be breaking down as well within my predictions. So we have got a lot to cover today. If you guys enjoy what you see, please smash the like button. It really does help the growth of this channel each time that you do that. If you've not hit that subscribe button, please do so. It really does help the growth of this channel. We're nearly at 1,700 subscribers, which would be a terrific achievement. And thank you guys as always for the terrific support. And please also share the channel too, because all these things help as well. But without any further ado, let's start going through what on earth went on last weekend in the... I don't think there's going to be too many games to review than this. Middlesbrough 5, Norwich City 1. What an incredible scoreline this is for Middlesbrough, but also an embarrassing scoreline for Norwich City. Any chances that they would have for the top 6 have taken a major hit here. Cameron Archer has been the guy in form. I mean, look at the goal contributions he's managed to have. He's had 4 goal contributions with 2 goals and 2 assists in this game alone. Josh Sargent is the only one who can hold his head high. He managed to get Norwich an actual consolation goal just before half time, which could have been a really crucial time for Norwich to potentially try and get something in the second half. But you can see here, despite being more shots, the difference is Middlesbrough were clinical. 6 shots on target to their 8. And Norwich only having 3 shots on target to their 11, which is very, very poor by their standards. Middlesbrough really needed this win. They're now still within a big closing distance from Sheffield United. Sheffield United are within touching distance now of getting promoted automatically. But Middlesbrough, if they keep going on having these results, they will be getting good momentum getting into the playoffs. Norwich, as you can see here, 10th place, 61 points. So still only 2 points off the top 6, but they have played a game more than Blackburn, of course. Big, major blow for Norwich. They've got some big games coming up, and if they do not take those games with that approach that sees them getting 3 points on the board, which honestly right now they are looking quite inconsistent with David Wagner here. Only 1 win, as you can see, in their last 5, then Norwich will miss out. And I do think they need another season of championship football at least, just to get things sorted and to have just a more optimistic long-term future for the club. Sheffield United and Cardiff, as you can see right here, it ended 4-1. So we're getting some high-scoring games to review very, very early on. It was very interesting actually when Cardiff took the lead. Came from the penalty spot, 19 minutes in from Sori Kaba, one of the new signings for Cardiff in the January window, and he has done a terrific job actually since he's come in, gaining a lot of crucial goals. However, James McAtee, as you can see, 5 minutes later makes it 1-1. He has been right up there for me as one of the players of the season for Sheffield United. I love the loan deals they got. I do think Sheffield United's business has really gone under the radar, and I think it has been an ingenious bit of business from Sheffield United to get to that stage and, you know, maybe over rely on a couple of individuals to get something, but nevertheless they have popped up when they needed to. And if you can see here, look how close it was. 13 shots to 15, 7 shots on target to 6. And I'm telling you this, actually, when it was 2-1 Sheffield United, Cardiff came really, excruciatingly close to an equaliser. And I think on another day, Cardiff could have got something. They hit the woodwork at one stage. So, honestly, 5 goals, you know, it could have even been more. But when Sheffield United got that killer blow, then that ultimately really took the game away from Cardiff. The momentum just shifted as it was. Iliman Ndiaye getting the 3rd goal there, and there's a mistake at the back as well by Mark McGuinness there, and Kieran Clark ends off the scoring to make it 4-1. as I previously said, the same with Middlesbrough, crucial wins with teams at the top of the table. Sheffield United right now need 86 points currently to definitely secure that they will be getting into that top 2. So they're not far from that, but honestly right now they've got some crucial games coming up, including Middlesbrough coming up very soon actually. So I'm going to be intrigued to see how this goes. Cardiff have got a different matter on their hands, which is relegation, and you can see they are only ahead of Reading now on goal difference because Reading managed to pick up a draw this weekend. Cardiff, I think, have got decent games coming up, but having said that, Cardiff really need to make sure that they do pick up. I feel one win could do it, but at the same time, if Reading win, then all of a sudden now that dynamic changes there. So ultimately, that final relegation place, I think, is going to be ultra competitive and typical for what we can see in a dramatic championship conclusion. Now with Blackpool and Wigan, I don't think either of them are going to survive. Blackpool picked up a good win. Stephen Dobby with his first game in charge as interim manager here. Jerry Yates getting, I think, his 14th goal of the season, making it 1-0 only 2 minutes in, and that early goal set the tone of the entire game. And you can see the attack momentum there. Whilst Wigan looked like they were more likely to get something, but they didn't really look like they created a lot. I mean, look at this, 13 shots, but only 2 on target, and that is the killer blow really. They are not creating enough clear-cut chances to get anything out of it. Wigan have won the less games out of all the teams in the championship with 34 points currently. I mean, without that deduction, Wigan will be on 37 points, but even with that, they still have a 5-point gap to try and breach from Reading. And even with that, I just think it's going to be too difficult for Wigan to stay up. I don't think they'll get relegated, and they're mathematically not possible for Wigan to be relegated next game, but next weekend, Wigan could go down mathematically, and so could Blackpool. But Blackpool have given themselves a little bit of breathing space, as you can see, with 38 points. You never know. Maybe Blackpool picking up one more win will really spice things up if Reading, Cardiff and QPR slow down their form. But personally, I think it's too little too late, and I just think we could get that one-off result for Blackpool. And I think Blackpool's run to the end of the season is very tricky. So I just don't see Blackpool unfortunately doing enough, but a brilliant win against their relegation rivals there. Now for Millwall and Preston, as you can see, a top 6-pointer, I called it in my predictions, and it was Millwall who won by 2-0. And I've got to say, fair play to Millwall. They didn't play all that well. I looked at the highlights and I thought Preston were actually a little bit hard done by with this result. But having said that, Millwall, even when they didn't play at their best, they got the job done, and that is very typical of what we see within a Gary Rowett team. And I'm really impressed actually of their professionalism. But as I said there, look at that, more possession for Preston, more shots to Preston there, more on target for Preston as well. But overall, whilst Millwall didn't have a lot of the ball, look at that, they only had 2 shots on target, and that was their 2 goals. Millwall were clinical and they turned up, as I said. So the goal scorers were from Bradshaw and Zion Fleming. Zion Fleming managing to get a goal and an assist. I think he's been Millwall's player of the season. An unbelievable transfer that they got. So with Millwall, they are now on 65 points, 5th place in the table. Got a tiny bit of breathing space from the likes of Coventry and Preston. The team's now aside of the top 6 now. And I think Millwall's run to the end of the season is quite generous actually. I think the highest ranking team they've got to face is Blackburn, the team right below them at the Den in the final game of the season. So whilst Millwall are not safe for top 6 yet, I think one more win and I think Millwall will be a top 6 team, which will be a first for me since they were promoted back to the Championship all the way back in around 2016-17. So that will be an incredible achievement for Millwall. What a job that Gary Rowett has done. It's not game over for Preston yet, but ultimately this was a major blow. Preston were in form with 3 wins in a row, and that defeat is definitely going to make things a little bit more tricky for them now. But Preston shouldn't use this result to derail their encouragement. I thought they played quite well, and I think if they do manage to pick up 2 wins, I think Preston can be competitive to get into that top 6 place. One other team who I think is quite confident of getting the top 6 place is Coventry, and this is a team that Preston will have to look out for because they are hungry for it. No mercy, beating struggling Queen's Park Rangers by 3-0. An early goal came in by Gyökeres, with Hamer getting the assist, and it stayed 1-0 for such a long period of the game, which actually kept the game in the balance. But you could see that attack momentum here. Very disappointingly, I've not seen QPR do enough to warrant an equaliser. Coventry by far had more shots. In fact, they doubled QPR's shots despite being an away team, and that's including shots on target and nearly the same amount of shots off target there, as you can see. QPR having more set plays and corners, but that ultimately did nothing really to test Coventry, and ultimately their clean sheet prowess continues here. Gustavo Hamer turns goal scorer this time. And in fact, Gustavo Hamer, with a hat-trick of goal contributions, chips in again for that Hamer and Gyökeres combination to make it 3-0 and scoring in either end of the game. With this 3-0 win, this is a big win for Coventry, because as you can see, they were winless in 3, and there were major concerns whether Coventry's form had slipped away, and they had 2 winnable games against a struggling Swansea and Watford side, which they failed to beat both occasions. So this right there is fantastic for Coventry. Now they picked up 3 points there. It's now going to be interesting to see, can they continue this form to the end of the season? Coventry will be another incredible team to be within the top 6. Considering the rise that they've been on. Their fans are terrific, and honestly, Coventry scream passion, and I would love to see them in the top 6. QPR, on the other hand, look at this. They're only 1 point off the drop, and that has taken a big hit to their goal difference as well. I won't lie with that. They've got some crucial games coming up with only 4 games left of the season. I would not hold your breath if I was a QPR fan. I would be very nervous right now. And I don't think it's the fault of Ainsworth, honestly. I think some of those players really need to start becoming more accountable to this. They've really given up this season, and it's really disappointing to see the level of drop-off as that. And I really do hope for QPR's sake that they do find a way out of it. I think a win may give them a strong chance, but we just never know when the next win's coming from. It just feels like that is not coming anytime soon, and that's a real major concern for QPR fans there. Reading and Burnley. So you would have expected Burnley to potentially get something from this game, but Reading, the team who originally had the biggest points record in the Championship, spoil Burnley's chances of breaking their own record. Fair play to Noel Hunt, the assistant manager for Reading, who will be in charge of Reading to the end of the season. He manages to get a 0-0 draw against the champions. There were many changes, however, from this Burnley side, and you can see that they had a major effect of it. 16 shots, but only 1 on target. I mean, look at that. Only 1 shot on target the entire game. This game screams a stalemate, unfortunately, there. And I think, if I'm right in saying, they lost Nathan Teller to injury, so he'll be gone for the rest of the season, and there's a very strong chance he won't return to Burnley. He'll be a Southampton player for next season unless they can sort things out and potentially both teams swapping leagues. Teller could see Burnley as being a more attractive option now. Reading with his draw is not a bad result for them, to be honest, especially against Burnley, who were on course to beat their points record, but now Reading have ultimately made sure that Burnley could only match their record now if they win all 5 of their games. And honestly, right now, with their away form and how that's going, I don't think Burnley will beat Reading's record. I do think they have a strong chance, however, to crack 100 points. And I think that will be a brilliant achievement, because no team has managed to do that since Leicester when they got promoted back in 2015. So still brilliant stuff ahead for Burnley and Reading. Light in the end of the tunnel, but they're really going to make sure that they try and pick up at least one crucial win in their last couple of games or so, because games are really starting to run out. Rotherham could potentially be dragged in this battle with Reading, because they've lost to Luton by 2-0. I mean, the first half was very quiet by the looks of things. It only came to life literally right in the last action before halftime started. Carlton Morris, who has been their biggest transfer in recent times, makes it 1-0 to Luton Town, and ultimately they ended the first half very well, and they started the second half so well as well. Winning a penalty, Woodrow stepped up, missed it, but then Woodrow follows it up to make it 2-0 to Luton. I'm intrigued at the stats because a lot of the momentum suggests that Luton were at it and no shots on target for home for Rotherham. So honestly, Rotherham, if they're on it and they can get an early goal, I think Rotherham are great. But when Rotherham are being dominated and their resistance doesn't pay off, they don't offer much. I don't see Rotherham being a resilient team of managing to win points from losing positions. So I do think that could be a weakness for Rotherham. But they have given themselves a breathing space. As I said, they're on 45 points with a game in hand, which is against Cardiff City, by the way, which I think will be a massive, massive game. Obviously, it was the game that was postponed due to the heavy rain when Cardiff originally were taking the lead in that game. So the controversy we could get within that game could be incredible there. But honestly, not safe yet. But you feel if they're on 48 points, I think that would be a safe amount for them to be in. So I think one more win for Rotherham, and I think they'll do it. What an incredible team that will be. Luton, they're in third. They are 5 points behind Sheffield United, but they have played a game more. So Sheffield United can extend their lead by, well, to 8 points if they win their game in hand, which I believe is against Huddersfield, if I remember right from that. And right now, that tells me within 2 game weeks, Sheffield United can already get wrapped up with promotion there. So we're going to have to see a slip up from Sheffield United very, very soon if Luton or Middlesbrough are going to have a chance of getting to that top 2. And unfortunately, I just don't see it for either one of them. I think Sheffield United have done enough, which is what I predicted when I did my last couple of predictions. I know it sounds boring, but I don't think we're going to get a major topsy-turvy change within second and third place now. I think Sheffield United have done enough to secure what they need to secure. For Stoke and West Brom, what an incredible win this is for West Brom considering the circumstances. There was a large delay within the game. Ben Wilmot obviously got injured with Phil Jagielka replacing him there. We had a lot of stoppage time actually. I think we had over 10 minutes of stoppage time going into half time there. It ended with that first half with Stoke taking the lead, but I don't know what Carlos Corberán said to Jason Malumbi, because he stepped in the second half, not scoring in ages. He scores 2 goals in 10 minutes to make it 2-1 to West Brom. You see with the positions here, Stoke stay in that mid-table position and now win this in 3. I think frustrating performance for Stoke and Alex Neil there. But it's West Brom that take the attention there. You can see West Brom's form was atrocious getting into this game. But that win for them there with 60 points with a game in hand and win that game in hand, they will be tied on points with Blackburn, having played a game more. So if West Brom can get some good momentum now with their final 5 games, I do think West Brom have a chance actually. And it is really going to be peculiar to see what sort of blockbuster finish we're going to get. I think we wrote off the likes of West Brom and Watford, being severely underperforming with their parachute payment teams. But now they've got the capability of pulling off a win like that under the pressure. Maybe we shouldn't be able to write them off. There was a red card in this game as well, which I nearly forgot to say. Of course, it's Ben Pearson who gets sent off for 2 yellow cards. So disappointing for Stoke, but brilliant win for West Brom, and could be a very crucial one in regards to top 6. Talking about another red card and another 2-1 game, and that was between Sunderland and Birmingham. So the red card also came from 2 yellow cards from Dennis Sirkin there. So the goal scoring started with George Hall within the 29th minute for Birmingham to give them a lead. But what a crucial goal Troy Hume managed to get just before half-time in the 48th minute. Incredible. And by the sounds of it, I do think Sunderland were the better team. They just had to be patient. And in the second half, it was very, very quiet. But Amad Diallo, of course, popping by from the bench, showing that fantastic bit of quality he offers there. Look at that, 13 shots to 14. So a lot of shots actually being asked for by both teams. A pretty open game, actually. So overall, it was very, very close. But maybe within the ball, with the amount of passes completed there, you would probably argue that Sunderland have slightly edged it based on their attack momentum there. And let's look at where that puts them in the table. Sunderland up to 9th, only 1 point behind Preston, only 2 points behind Blackburn. Sunderland, if they win their midweek game and other results go their way, they could be in the top 6 by game week 43, which is incredible to see Sunderland recently promoted changing managers halfway through and get that close to top 6. It is an incredible achievement for this Sunderland team. With Birmingham, I think they're around mid-table at the moment, and I'm expecting their results to fluctuate now because, I mean, right now, they don't really need too much to play for right now. They're kind of on the beach now. They should be thinking about next season, really. So I'm not expecting the biggest amount of consistency. I'm just more or less expecting them just to kind of see what happens, really, with most of their games now. We're now going to go to Swansea and Huddersfield. You can see it was Swansea that broke Huddersfield and Neil Warnock's heart with a 1-0 win, and that doesn't really come at a helpful time for Huddersfield, obviously. It was Ryan Manning, the only one that got the goal, Luke Cundle getting the assist in the 69th minute. If we took at stats, I mean, two contrasting styles of football. Very possessive style of football for Swansea, very formulated and very, very one-route football with Neil Warnock, of course, and it's had contrasting results, and I'm a bit surprised in the way that Huddersfield did not create more with that route one approach there. 5 shots on target to 1, then 19 shots to 9. They were comprehensively beaten by Swansea, and we've seen Swansea overplay at times, but they seem to strike that right balance now, and you can see, look at this consistency here, 4 wins in 5. Had they got that form a bit sooner, I probably would be backing Swansea to sneak into the top 6, but I do think they've left themselves with too much to do. The gap is 7 points between them and 6th place Blackburn. So unfortunately, I don't think Swansea would get in. But honestly, they really could have had they got that form within 2-3 game weeks before that. Huddersfield, obviously, it's their first defeat in quite a while with Neil Warnock and only 1 point above the relegation zone. You know, we were almost thinking Huddersfield are now going to cruise out of it now with Neil Warnock. But now that one defeat has now made things a little bit interesting again and a little bit more nervy for Huddersfield fans. Do not hold on your horses yet. It's going to be a really, really dramatic end to the season. Final game within the 3 o'clocks is Watford and Bristol City. And I said in my predictions, Watford finally have got to win here. And they did against Bristol City by 2-0. Cornick with the own goal and João Pedro getting the second goal. But I've got to say, by the sounds of it, Bristol City would be feeling how on earth did they not get anything. 30 shots to 11, but more shots on target for Bristol City and having more possession there as well. So Bristol City did play quite well. Unfortunately, they had Daniel Batman to try and beat in goal, and they really, really struggled. Look at that, an 8.4 rating for Batman there. So he was clearly the player of the match according to SofaScore there. Watford right in that mid-table position, but only on 59 points and only 4 points behind Blackburn. It's not impossible for Watford to get back within that top 6. I think it's going to be a major ask for them, but it's not impossible. That is the key term here. With Bristol City, likewise with Birmingham, I'm not expecting results to be consistent now. They're going to be fluctuating. They'll be in that mid-table position. They're not getting top 6, and they're not going to be thinking about relegation either. Final game to talk about, briefly, is Blackburn 0, Hull 0. By the sounds of it, Hull had a small spell, but Blackburn ultimately were pushing for a winner, and they couldn't find it. 14 shots to 11. Only 2 shots on target, which does concern me with this Blackburn team, that they're just not creating enough clear-cut chances there. 12 fouls there, so you can visibly see the frustration with this Blackburn team there. So I'm a tiny bit worried, you know, they are not really finding the same success rate of putting the ball in the back of the net, to be honest. That is 3 games in their last 4 where they've not scored a goal. So right now, they really need to get their scoring boots back on. Otherwise, they will have consequences with this form right now, because you can see Coventry, Preston, Sunderland, I'll throw Norwich, maybe even West Brom and Watford. They are all chasing down that final space. You can probably say that Millwall are nearly safely within that top 6, considering there's only 4 games left for those teams. Hull City in that middle part of the table, not really much to really think about there. They're not thinking of top 6, they're not thinking of relegation, so I'm expecting their form, likewise with all the mid-table teams, just to fluctuate and to be very, very inconsistent as they're thinking about next year. So guys, that is my review done for match day 42. So this is the table in full. Burnley first, of course, on 91 points now. They cannot beat the records now for points, but 100 points is imminent. Sheffield United only within 6 to 7 points of securing automatic promotion. They're gonna have to just carry on a couple more games from now. Luton, Middlesbrough looking like they're assuring for top 6. Millwall looking more comfortable now, but that final top 6 place really could go either to Blackburn, Coventry, Preston, Sunderland, Norwich, West Brom, Watford. I think all those teams have a chance of getting that final space. And then within the teams in danger, I think from Rotherham downwards, you're looking at teams who are fighting relegation. And I think Blackpool, despite picking up that win, I think they're nearly down. And Wigan looking like that within only 2 weeks. They will be down first. So that is my review. The last thing I'm going to do before I end today is give you my score predictions for Matchday 43 for the midweek games. Blackpool West Brom, I think this is a very grueling game for Blackpool considering the stakes they've got. West Brom, if they get back-to-back wins, this will be crucial. I'm going to go for 2-1 West Brom actually. I think they can pick up wins here. Millwall Birmingham, I think a big game for Millwall here. They've got everything to play for top 6. Birmingham in the mid-table. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to Millwall. I don't think there'll be many goals in this game. Rotherham and Burnley. Rotherham could look at this, maybe a 0-0 draw. Could potentially see them get enough points to stay up. You know, like what Reading did to Burnley there. Burnley, you know, if they want to get those 100 points records, they've really got to try and get a win here. I'm going to go 1-0 Burnley. I'm not too confident, really, to be honest. I think Burnley are really playing in second gear now. Rotherham got a lot to play for, of course, and maybe 1 point could be enough as well. So, may regret that prediction. May have should have backed something for Rotherham there, but I'll go for 1-0 Burnley and stick with it. Sheffield United, Bristol City. I'm going to go 2-1 Sheffield United. Sheffield United looking good with their form at the moment. Bristol City in that mid-table position, so I'm not expecting their form to be too consistent there. Stoke and Wigan. I mean, Stoke in the mid-table position, but Wigan really need to pick up a result here if they want to have any slim chance of survival. For me, I think it's going to be a mountain decline for Wigan. 2-0 Stoke, in my opinion there. Sunderland and Huddersfield. Sunderland chasing for top 6 and have really get themselves back into the conversation of it. Huddersfield want to try and stay up, of course, and only 1 point above the relegation zone. I think it's going to be an interesting contest, but I'm going to go 2-1 Sunderland. I think they might edge out in this game with the quality that they've got. Blackburn, Coventry. So this is a top 6 battle right there. 6th versus 7th. So this could be a really, really big indication of who will be getting into the top 6. Blackburn at home, but of course, as I said, Blackburn struggling for goals. Coventry scoring goals for fun at the moment, as it seems. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 away win for Coventry there. QPR and Norwich. I don't know, to be honest. QPR not looking like they're going to pick up a win anytime soon. Norwich, not really too pleased with them. Can they bounce back from that 5-1 defeat? I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory to Norwich. Maybe just down to the amount of attacking players that they got and how lackluster QPR being with defence. Next, Swansea Preston. Crucial game actually for Preston if we want to try and get to the top 6. But Swansea improving their form. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think there will not be much to separate in this game. Watford Cardiff. So Watford trying to go back into the conversation within the top 6. Cardiff trying to survive. You know, both things that teams are playing for there. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Watford based on what they've got as options there. Next, we've got Middlesbrough Hull. Middlesbrough with everything to play for to try and get into the top 2. Hull with nothing to play for. I think with how well they're playing against Norwich, they'll carry that forward here. I'm going to go for a 3-1 to Middlesbrough. And then the final game to predict is Reading Luton. Reading have got to try and survive. Luton have got to try and get into the top 2. I think just based on how good Luton have been away from home, they've actually picked up one of the most points away from home. I think only Burnley have actually picked up more away points than Luton have actually statistically. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 away win to Luton. I think on the road, Luton are very, very good. So guys, that is my review and my predictions for Matchday 43 done. If you guys want to get involved within the prediction league, make sure you comment those predictions in the comments down below. Prediction leagues will be up to date after the midweek games. I have got exams coming up as well, so I can't promise it will be out on time, but I will be trying my best just to try and balance enough things going on. If you guys enjoyed it, please smash the like button, it really does help. Please do hit the subscribe button too, and please share as well. All these things really, really do help me. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary for joining this video, and as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.